Hello everyone and welcome. You are watching the EBC international coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. I'm Alan Basso Yahe coming to you from Los Angeles, California. Tonight, we have live updates from several of our correspondents from Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and across the US. Dwight Maloloy, Melbourne, Australia.
Victoria, Australia has brought to easing restrictions.
Bea Borja, Wellington City, New Zealand.
New Zealand's success story around COVID-19.
Thomas Linus in Alberta, Canada reports about the Canadian Medical Association's warning that the country is not ready for a second wave of coronavirus. Bobby Soriano, New York, New York.
Some schools conducted through distance learning, and New York permits religious gatherings up to 10 people.
Jericho Montefalcon, San Antonio reports about Governor Abbott's directive that Texas Health and Human Services expand COVID-19 testing to all state hospitals and state-supported living centers. Brianna Andrade, Santa Clarita, California.
LA County Development Authority launches a short-term rent relief program.
Plus, meet a 2020 University of Arizona graduate and know why this year's batch of graduates is beyond ordinary. And for EBC Sports, the Fraser Bandits vice president discusses the state of the league during the COVID-19 pandemic. Also, EBC Sports International host Michael Hudson shares his thoughts about the home court app and why it piques the interest of basketball fans. But first, a look at how the world looks now. According to the Coronavirus Resource Center of Johns Hopkins University and Medicine, as of 3 p.m. Eastern Time Thursday, May 21, 2020, the number of cases of COVID-19 reported worldwide is now more than 5 million. This includes more than 1,500,000 in the US and more than 81,000 in Canada. Sadly, this virus has claimed more than 329,000 lives worldwide. This number includes more than 93,000 deaths in the US and more than 6,000 in Canada. Our coverage begins now. US President Donald Trump's former personal attorney, Michael Cohen, was released from prison to home confinement Thursday as part of a push to stem the spread of coronavirus among inmates. Cohen is serving a 3-year sentence after admitting paying hush money to 2 women who say they slept with Trump for tax fraud and for lying to Congress. A judge initially rejected his bid for early release over the coronavirus pandemic that has ravaged the state and overrun prison facilities nationwide. But coronavirus relief legislation allowed Attorney General Bill Barr emergency powers to send some inmates into home confinement without judicial permission. An employee of the Trump Organization for a decade, Cohen has been disbarred but has mentioned plans to write a tell-all book. Cohen's release came a week after Paul Manafort, the president's one-time election campaign chairman, was freed from jail over the coronavirus threat. According to the Bureau of Prisons, as of this week, at least 2,265 federal inmates and 188 prison staff members nationwide have been tested positive for COVID-19. At least 58 inmate deaths have been attributed to the highly contagious disease. Cohen and Manafort are among the 2,932 released to home confinement since March, according to the Bureau. Their early release has sparked anger as prisoners of less means remain jailed amid the pandemic. Senator Amy Klobuchar, a former candidate for the Democratic presidential nomination, tweeted, quote, Andrea Circle-Bear, jailed for a non-violent offense, died from the virus after giving birth on a ventilator. There cannot be 2 justice systems. Meanwhile, US President Donald Trump says he is considering hosting a G7 summit primarily at the White House in Washington.
Probably at the White House and maybe a little combination at Camp David, but primarily at the White House. So if we do the G7, when that all comes together, probably it will be in D.C. at the White House. Okay? But there could be a piece of it at Camp David, which is nearby.
In Victoria, we investigate Australia's road to easing restrictions. Dwight Baloloy in Melbourne with the details.
Hi, Alan.
Hey there, Dwight.
As of this moment, there are now 5 reasons why residents in Victoria, Australia are allowed to be out. Previously, people can only go out due to 4 reasons: shopping for what they need, such as food and essential supplies, any medical care or compassionate needs, to exercise, and to work and study if not done remotely from home. And now the Victorian government has allowed people to visit family and friends only if they needed to, and for a maximum of 5 visitors only. This is because the Australian government has come up with their 3-step framework for a COVID-safe Australia. From their website, these 3 steps include Step 1. The important first small steps, such as connecting with friends and family, allowing groups of people to be together in homes and in the community, businesses to reopen, and more people to return to work. Step 2, building on slightly larger gatherings and more businesses reopening, but higher risk of activities may still have tighter restrictions. Step 3, commitment to reopening businesses and the community with minimal restrictions but underpinned by COVID-safe ways of living. But all steps are subject to expert health advice. Students from primary and secondary schools will go back to school starting May 25th, but it will be staggered. Prep 1, 2, and years 11 and 12 will go back on May 25, and grades 3 to 10 will go back from June 9. The Victorian government also announced their plans to reopen restaurants and cafes for dine-in from June 1, but with restrictions of 20 people per premise, and will gradually increase this limit over time. Sport and exercise restrictions are now modified, where a maximum of 10 people can now play sports together or exercise, including outdoor activities and boot camps, except indoor sports exercise, unless practiced at home or via online classes, and club facilities are still not allowed to be used. People need to trust the process in order for them to safely go outside again and do the things they like to do. This is Dwight Albert Baloloy from Melbourne, Australia, and we live in interesting times.
Dwight, why is it that the restrictions are different per state in Australia?
So the state government can implement changes based on the COVID-19 situation, just like what happened here in Victoria, where it is quite stricter compared to other states here in Australia. And as an example of that, there were some cluster cases that happened recently here in Victoria, such as cases in a meat factory and an aged care facility. Hence, naturally, the restrictions here may be different from those in Sydney or Queensland.
Okay. So, I myself have never been to Victoria. What's the weather there like right now?
So, with the testing, there are designated testing facilities for people to be tested. In fact, the Victorian government has announced that there were more than 160,000 tests that were conducted, reaching their target of 150,000 tests by the end of May. These tests for COVID-19 are free of charge, including non-residents of Australia.
And so with all that testing that's being allowed, is the weather there hot right now? I mean, are people out being tested in hot weather? What's it like over there? Dwight? All right, we're going to go and move on. That was Dwight Balolo, Victoria, Australia. Thank you so much for your report. New Zealand's strategy in attacking the spread of COVID-19 has gained praise across the globe. What is behind what may be considered New Zealand's success story? Eagle News correspondent Bea Borja in Wellington City has the details.
Hello, Alan. So further proof that New Zealand has broken the chain of transmission onshore continues to emerge. It has been consistently reporting a low number of new cases these past few weeks. 97% of probable and confirmed cases have recovered. Only 30 active cases remain, with just one case needing hospitalization. It's in fact very interesting to note at this point that despite this significant progress, the country continues to maintain high testing rates across regions to make sure that there are no pockets of undetected community transmission. To date, 250,246 people have been tested. The Ministry of Health has also recently launched its official NZ COVID Tracer app to supplement conventional contact tracing. These are measures taken by the government to keep New Zealanders safe as the country has moved out of heavy restrictions and people have to safe normal. It can be recalled that based on modeling ahead of the pandemic, New Zealand was headed on an infection trajectory similar to that of Italy and Spain. The country's leaders took this information seriously and quickly put together a systematic COVID-19 response mechanism and followed through with strict enforcement. Meanwhile, the level of compliance and cooperation of New Zealanders to those measures have only been second to none. So now Kiwis, as New Zealanders are fondly called, are reaping the benefits of their collective effort and sacrifice, eliminating the virus in New Zealand. With numbers looking good and sustaining the effort to minimize and contain outbreaks, Cabinet meets again on Monday to review Alert Level 2 restrictions and possibly increase the number of people allowed to gather. In Wellington City, New Zealand, I'm Bea Borja, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Bea, where do you think New Zealand's success around COVID is attributable?
There are several circumstances unique to New Zealand that has contributed to this success. Probably, firstly, the unique geographical advantage of New Zealand. It shares no common borders with other countries. And secondly, the advantage of being able to see how other countries dealt with the virus first and the effects of the steps other countries made on containing the virus and outbreaks. And relatively small population of New Zealand. As of last census, there are only 5 million New Zealanders. And also, aside from that, the series of steps that it took, the strong leadership, Jacinda Ardern has been commended worldwide for the type of strength that she has shown throughout this ordeal. And not with the absence of criticism. Her style has been criticized as being too draconian. Comparing it with Australia, which is our closest neighbor, they said that the same results could have been achieved with less strict restrictions, but then she said that New Zealand is going to blaze its own trail, it will follow its own path, and it's gotten New Zealand where it is right now.
Okay. And now you mentioned that 5 million might be less of a population than other countries, but just based on the videos and pictures that we saw, are the streets more empty these days than what we're used to?
Those pictures are probably during the first day of Alert Level 2 when people were still adjusting. That's I think a Friday that we took those videos. So probably the shops were just adjusting. They were lining and placing place for where people should step to keep distance from each other. And so that's greatly different from how it is now. The streets are busier. The traffic is almost back to normal, and everyone's just out and about again.
And understand a large part of that has to do with the fact that the New Zealanders are so compliant. But there's something else that we also caught our attention. You also mentioned that New Zealanders are called Kiwis. Now, in my entire experience, I know what a Kiwi is. It's something that I buy at a grocery store, and it comes in a package of 6. How wrong am I?
We also have kiwi fruits here, but we also have a kiwi bird, and Kiwis are also people. They are New Zealanders. They are like a fond name for New Zealanders, and they don't take it as an insult. They also refer to themselves as Kiwis.
Okay, but I don't know if I could go into a grocery store and find a six-pack of Kiwi Bird, though. I don't think that, or can I?
Probably not, but
Okay.
maybe also a kiwi with a six-pack.
Okay, all right. Well, thank you so much, Bea, for your report.
Thank you so much, Alan, and it's good to be here.
All right. Thomas Likeness in Alberta, Canada, reports about the Canadian Medical Association's warning that the country is not ready for a second wave of coronavirus.
The president of the Canadian Medical Association says reopening the economy now is a gamble. Dr. Sandy Buckman testified before the Canadian Senate Social Affairs Committee. He's warning the country cannot handle a second wave of COVID-19. Buckman says we're gambling by reopening the economy and schools and other facets of life, and he says those decisions just aren't being made in an evidence-informed way. He's critical about the lack of diagnostic testing and contact tracing, adding that serologic testing, which assesses the immunity of the population, just isn't being done. At his daily briefing, Prime Minister Trudeau admitted more should be done.
We know that there is more to do, and as we reopen, we know that citizens will continue to be extremely vigilant and careful about how they act, because that is going to be a key part of keeping us safe moving forward. So government will do its part, citizens, employers, employees will be doing their part. We need to continue to do everything we can to prevent the need for any further lockdowns the way we've had up till now.
Trudeau is meeting with the premiers tonight to discuss how testing and contact tracing can be increased. For all of you, I wish you good health. Take care of others. Take care of yourselves. Stay home, stay safe, and stay tuned to Eagle News for accurate and balanced coverage of the COVID-19 pandemic. In Edmonton, Canada, Thomas I. Likeness, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
As Canada continues taking further steps to battle coronavirus, we all in the world will certainly be watching. Thank you so much, Thomas, for that report. When we come back, live updates from our Eagle News correspondents in Australia, New Zealand, Canada, and the US.
Iba't iba man ang pinanggalingan, iisa lang ang pinangahawakan. Ang pangarap na makilala sa kanilang larangan. Mas titindi pa ang performances ng ating mga TNG aspirants dito lang sa pinakabago at pinakamalaking talent competition ng Philippine Television. Ito ang...
Tagisan ng Galing is presented by SMC Infrastructure, building a better world. Sandig sugar-free white coffee, puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na Sandig sugar-free white coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free. Vet-approved Nutri-Chocs, the only premium dog food with active boost for optimum energy and prebiotics that help strengthen immunity. Just like Catherine Bernardo, gawing listo, ganado ang fur babies niyo. Listo ganado sa Nutri-Chocs. Magnolia Chicken Templados, delicious, ready to cook and freshly marinated daily. Pure Foods Luncheon Meat, pure sarap for every family. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Walang duda, kids can tell na #1 ang Pure Foods Tender Juicy. Ang tender, ang juicy, ang sarap. Co-presented by Cooper, expert in air conditioning and electromechanical. Also engaged in structural, electrical, fire protection, plumbing, and sanitary services. Cooper, your ultimate MEPS and air conditioning solutions. Unlad Incorporated International, fight against global poverty. New San Jose Builders Incorporated. Canrib Corporation, your ventilation and air conditioning specialist. Vita Herbs Philippines Green Coffee, masarap, mabango, at healthy pa. Puerto Rico Resort and Convention Center, Cabiao, Nueva Ecija. I love Puerto Rico. Participation with Rain or Shine Elastomeric Waterproofing Paint. Color for protection for your home. Matimco, Matimco is wood. Wood is Matimco. Our Square Variables Incorporated, your trusted UPS supplier and UPS maintenance provider in Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. CompuZell Computer Services, ID card and lanyard manufacturer. Saisho International Trading Corporation, DN Steel, EMAC UPB Roof Corporation.
Hey, Aggression Ho here, and I'm a white coffee lover. Creamy kasi, and very yummy. Pero mas masarap kung hindi nakaka-guilty. Check my new discovery, Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Puno ng white coffee taste without the sugar, kaya lower calories. Try mo na! Sandmade Sugar-Free White Coffee. Sarap ng white coffee, now sugar-free.
The successful development of TPLEX, or Tarlac Pangasinan La Union Expressway in 2009, a 4-lane toll road that extends from Tarlac City to Rosario La Union, with an additional approved extension of 56 kilometers all the way to San Juan La Union. This is expected to reduce travel time to Baguio and other provinces in northern Luzon. Realizing the vision of creating a better world for Filipinos fueled the team's focus.
Listo at ganado ang baby ko sa vet-approved Nutri-Chunks with active boost and prebiotics na pampalisto. Made with real meat, with essential nutrients to help them grow healthy and happy. Listo, ganado sa Nutri-Chunks.
Ikaw lang ang star ng buhay ko. Para sa akin, perfect ka. Ibang klase ang sarap ng corned beef mo. Ang cheesy ng corned beef mo. Pag Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef, sarap ng corned beef, inangat pa ng real cheese cubes. Kaya perfect ang sarap. Star Chunky Cheese Corned Beef.
You are watching Eagle News. I'm Alan Basolyahe in Los Angeles. Summer school be conducted through distance learning. And New York permits religious gatherings of up to 10 people. In New York, we have Eagle News correspondent Bobby Soriano.
Hi, Alan. Amid the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic, Governor Cuomo today announced summer school will be conducted through distance learning to continue to help reduce the risk of spread. Meal programs and child care services for essential employees will continue, and the state will decide in June on the fall semester, so schools and colleges can begin to plan early. In a somewhat surprising announcement beginning today, religious gatherings of no more than 10 people will also be allowed statewide, with strict social distancing measures enforced. Additionally, drive-in and parking lot services will also be allowed starting today. In related news, because this is 2020, Alan, and it's the year that unfortunately keeps on giving, the governor also announced the state is currently investigating 157 reported cases in New York where children, predominantly school-aged, are experiencing symptoms of a new disease similar to an atypical Kawasaki disease and toxic shock-like syndrome, possibly due to COVID-19. The illness, unfortunately, has taken the lives of 3 young New Yorkers, aged 5, 7, and a teenager. To date, 13 countries and 25 other states have reported cases of this COVID-related illness in children. Meanwhile, businesses continue to struggle to stay alive during the pandemic, even here in the financial center of the world. Big retailers like J.Crew and Neiman Marcus are not immune to the struggle, having recently filed for bankruptcy. Nordstrom is permanently closing 16 of its 116 stores, and even the juggernaut that is the Disney brand name is starting to feel the pain, as Disney's hit Broadway show, based on the popular movie Frozen, is closed permanently due to the current crisis. The show will look to now go on the road, touring in cities throughout the country. Even in my own neighborhood, here in Manhattan, shuttered storefronts are pretty common due to statewide mandates, with some shops already cleared out, hoping for another business to soon take its place. For the numbers, 1,555,000 New Yorkers have been tested for COVID-19. Yesterday, 49,000 tests were done, and 2,088 came back positive, bringing the total to 356,000 positive cases. Unfortunately, there have been over 23,000 deaths. In New York, Bobby Soriano, Eagle News. We live in interesting times. Back to you, Alan.
Bobby, I understand that you had antibody testing done this morning. Can you share with us and tell us about that experience?
Yes, it was actually an amazing experience because it only took 20 minutes. And it's all the more amazing when you consider that this is a city of 8 million people, and you can go to a nearby health center and get tested in that short amount of time. So I know, you see it in the news a lot. There's a lot of, blaming on how this could have been maybe taken care of sooner. Maybe we could have done more precautions against this pandemic. But the fact of the matter that you can now go out there, get a test done in a short amount of time, I think it's a testament to how many of the people here have come together to help it become an official, a very efficient process that more and more people are able to easily get tested.
And Bobby, can you talk about the test itself? Is there anything about the test that might intimidate someone from maybe potentially deciding not to have it done?
If you're afraid of needles, you might wanna, just look away. But for the most part, it's a very simple test. They just draw blood from you, and they take a vial of your blood, and then it gets sent to a lab for testing. So don't expect the results right there and then. It's not a quick test like that, but it is an accurate test, and hoping to get the results back soon.
And then just so to be clear, the 20 minutes that it took to do the test wasn't 20 minutes of them taking blood out of you, right?
No, not at all. That only took maybe a minute or so. That 20 minutes actually includes the time I was waiting amongst everyone else that was there for the test. So everyone there was socially distancing, but the line was moving very quick, and it was done very quickly.
Well, we think that 20 minutes is a relatively short amount of time to invest to have something as important as this kind of test done. Thank you so much, Bobby, for your report.
Thank you, Alan.
Governor Abbott directs Texas Health and Human Services to expand COVID-19 testing to all state hospitals, state-supported living centers. In San Antonio, Jericho Montefalcon has the story.
Thank you, Alan, and howdy from the Lone Star State. Today, Texas Governor Greg Abbott directed Texas Health and Human Services to expand COVID-19 testings to all state hospitals and state-supported living centers, which will include 4,700 patients and 18,000 employees at the 23 state-operated psychiatric hospitals and living centers throughout Texas. Previously, residents and patients were only tested if they displayed COVID-19 symptoms or were exposed to the virus. This new round of testing will cover those who have shown no signs nor have been tested for the last 30 days. He also announced that CVS pharmacies will be providing an additional 44 new COVID-19 drive-through testing sites throughout Texas. And some good news for those wanting to travel here to Texas. Starting today, the governor announced that all air travel restrictions related to COVID-19 pandemic will be lifted. This new executive order terminates all restrictions in its previous executive order, GA20, which means that 14-day quarantine will no longer be required for travelers who arrive from places such as California, Connecticut, New York, New Jersey, Washington, Atlanta, Georgia, Chicago, Illinois, Detroit, Michigan, or Miami, Florida. As Phase 2 of Texas reopening is underway, we spoke to Sylvia Amaya, a Corpus Christi healthcare provider, regarding her biggest challenges during the pandemic crisis and what she misses the most under this new normal. Let's take a look.
Hi, my name is Sylvia Amaya. I'm from Corpus Christi, Texas, and as of right now, I'm working as a CPSGT/DME coordinator. as much as you want to take care of your patient, get close to them, understand them, speak to them a little bit better, it's been a little bit harder just to be able to communicate, of course, face-to-face, having that one-on-one with everybody is getting a little bit harder, but we're managing. Again, protocols are coming in with masks and gloves and sanitation coming up, but I mean, it helps. It's worth it. We're working through it. Of course, just cleaning, making sure that not only the patient is safe, but we are safe too. So it's a little challenging, but at the end of the day, it's worth it just for safety. Shopping is one of the biggest things that I do miss. I know we have Walmart and HEB, like essential stores that we have open, but just going out and buying clothes, buying decorations for the home, that's just, online is not the same thing. You can't actually physically see what you have online. So it's one of the biggest things that I'm gonna miss, or I am missing, so I can't wait till we get back to normal. Hopefully everything goes back to normal pretty soon.
Thank you for sharing comments, Sylvia. In Corpus Christi, Texas, I am Jericho Montefalcon. Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Thank you for that report, Jericho. Stay safe out there. The Los Angeles County Development Authority launches a short-term rent relief program. Brianna Andrade in Santa Clarita reports.
Thank you, Alan. With unemployment rates skyrocketing due to the rapid spread of COVID-19, many have been directly impacted because of layoffs, furloughs, or reduction of hours, have turned to assistance programs to get through these trying times. In Los Angeles, the LA County Development Authority launched a short-term rent relief program to assist Angelenos with up to 3 months of rent. Recently, the LA County Board of Supervisors approved a $3.7 million emergency rental assistance for those living in unincorporated areas in Los Angeles County. These areas include West and East Rancho Dominguez Hills, Athens, Ladera Heights, Florence Firestone, View Park, Lenox, Willowbrook, and Windsor Hills. The Rental Assistance Program offers grants that can be used for rental payments that can be made on behalf of an eligible household. These grants can be provided for up to 3 months in increments of $1,000 per month. Individuals who are interested in the program must be able to demonstrate their loss of wages during this COVID pandemic and must complete an application no later than May 31st by contacting 211LA via phone or visiting 211la.org/COVID-rental-assistance. In addition to this program, on May 14th, the Board of Supervisors approved an additional $800,000 worth of grants to be used for mom and pop landlords to assist them with paying mortgages on their rental properties. The Board of Supervisors also voted in favor of an extension for eviction moratoriums in Los Angeles County until June 30th, 2020, with consideration for extensions after every 30 days. The funding of the federal program leaned heavily on the data from the U.S. Census. All county residents are highly encouraged to complete the 2020 census via mail or online at my2020census.gov for their information to be counted. In Los Angeles County, the number of new cases increased with 1,204 newly reported cases and 46 new deaths. The total number of confirmed cases in the county are 42,037, with 2,016 deaths, as announced today by the Los Angeles Public Health Department. Meanwhile, the state of California now has 86,228 confirmed COVID-19 cases and 3,501 deaths, as recorded by Johns Hopkins University and Medicine Coronavirus Resource Center. In Santa Clarita, California, Brianna Andrade, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Now, Brianna, I myself know the Los Angeles area pretty well. $1,000 a month that you just mentioned would be welcome to any renter. But rent in Los Angeles, you know, it can easily top that amount.
Right, Alan. The program is called Rental Assistance. So even for cases where the monthly is greater than $1,000, by receiving this money, both a renter and a landlord can at least get some help with the rent payment.
And we did notice that you said that May 31st is the deadline. Well, that's just right around the corner. How quick is the application process?
Well, for looking into this, I took the online rental assistance application for a test drive. The questions are very straightforward, and in my case, the initial application didn't take more than 5 minutes to complete.
Okay, well, that's wonderful that you actually tried out the application online. Did you actually hit submit? Is $1,000 on their way to you?
No, because I just tried it out to see the whole test itself. I live with my parents, so no rent needs to be paid here. So.
Okay. Well, I'm sorry to hear that you were just about to have a brand new best friend. But in any case, thank you so much, Brianna, for that report.
Thank you, Alan.
Up next, meet a University of Arizona graduate who will share with us how beyond ordinary this batch of graduates is. We will return shortly. You want to stay with us. This is Eagle News. Welcome back to Eagle News. In just a few moments, we will speak to our special guest, the graduate from the University of Arizona. But first, for EBC Sports, the Fraser Bandits Vice President discusses the state of the league during the COVID-19 pandemic. And Michael Hudson of EBC Sports International will share with us what he thinks about this new app, Home Court, and why it piques the interest of basketball fans.
Hello everyone, I'm Anthony Sevilla from Vancouver, and I'm joined with a special guest today. He's the Vice President of the Fraser Valley Bandits of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. Thanks for joining with us today.
Yeah, thank you for having me, Anthony. I'm very excited to be here.
For those who don't know what the CEBL is, can you just elaborate what the difference between the CEBL is and other leagues in North America?
The Canadian Elite Basketball League is a domestic professional league here in Canada. So very similar to what you would see in domestic leagues, potentially in the Philippines or in Europe or in the rest of Asia, where a significant portion of the players will be from that specific country. So for us, 70% of our players have to be Canadian. As you might know, like Canada is becoming one of the premium producers for players in the NBA. So for us, we thought, well, why isn't there an opportunity for players to play domestic here in Canada? Why not create an opportunity to show people here in Canada what type of level of talent we have that represent?
So the league was supposed to tip off earlier this month. Are there any updates of the league and what's planned for the foreseeable future?
Yeah, for at least this summer, we're exploring a lot of options. Right now, we have not canceled this season, but our league was built to withstand these kind of situations. So we're back next summer no matter what, but we want to be back on the court this summer. So we'll find out soon what's happening once we get more information from the federal government and the health authorities.
So a lot of leagues are going the route of no fans in the stadiums. Do you feel that the CEBL is going in that direction, and do you think the league can sustain that?
We are a ticket revenue generating league. That is one of our primary sources of revenue, and honestly, without that, I'm not sure how we would operate. But if that is the case going into next summer, then I know our league will look at ways to generate revenues in other ways to make sure that we can withstand these type of situations. But most importantly, just making sure people are safe and staying strong during these times and helping each other be safe.
So you guys have been very open to supporting frontliners during this pandemic. Is there anything you guys have planned
we're looking at ways that we can provide the frontline workers with an opportunity to attend a game for free by working with our local community partners as well to make that happen, whether that be for the home opener in 2021 or for our first responders night. We're looking at ways that we can do something special for them.
Thanks, Dylan, for joining us today. That was Dylan Kular, Vice President for the Fraser Valley Bandits of the Canadian Elite Basketball League. From Vancouver, Anthony Sevilla, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Thanks, Anthony. The COVID-19 pandemic impacted every aspect of people's lives, and for sports and fitness buffs, their training and exercise routine was also affected. Enter a new niche of online videos and mobile device apps that tailor to people who want to stay active during this stay-at-home era. One of these apps is the Home Court app. Our EBC correspondent, Michael Hudson, has the review. Take a look.
Hey, how you doing, guys? Michael here. In this specific video, we're going to be reviewing the cool app called the Home Court app. It's a basketball app tailored for basketball players who are trying to learn the game or are veterans of the game, and it helps you work on your individual skills. So in this video, I'm going to go through the entire app to show you the details of it, how to operate it, how to do each drill, and also I'm going to go through a few drills in ball handling, shooting, and also agility to give you a little taste of what to expect. If you watch to the end of the video, I'll share my personal thoughts about the app and also grade the app based on a 5-star scale.
The Home Court app was created by NEX Team Incorporated, which is a mobile artificial intelligence company that comprises of entrepreneurs and former employee and engineers from the likes of Google, Facebook, and Apple. Some of the investors include NBA retired great Steve Nash, movie star Will Smith, current Dallas Mavericks owner and billionaire Mark Cuban, and Seattle Storm superstar Sue Bird. The way the app works is pretty simple. As you open the app, the branded logo appears and it takes you to the activity section where you can select which type of drill you'd like to do, whether it be ball handling, shooting, or agility drills. What's also cool is whichever activity you choose, it will play a video beforehand to show you how to complete each drill, so it'll prevent you from having to guess how to do it if you're not familiar. The AI basketball training app is free through the end of May, and if you'd like to purchase a subscription, it's $7.99 per month and $69.99 yearly.
So what I love about this app already, especially the dribbling part, is I like how it forces you to stay with your eyes up. That's an important thing, especially when you're really learning the game of basketball about dribbling, especially at the point guard position. You're always taught to keep your eyes up so you can see so you can have court vision, so you can see the length of the court. And at the same time, it's forcing you to stay low because the targets, more times than not, are going to be on the lower portion. Yeah, occasionally there's going to be targets on the higher parts, but for the most part, it's forcing you to stay low, and also at the same time, it's keeping you on your toes. You don't know, obviously, you don't know where the dots are going to be at, so you're constantly moving, and that's what I love about it because you can get a workout out of it as well.
0 0 1 2 2 out of 5 3
So I just wrapped up the shooting drill. I did the baseline to baseline drill. So as you can see, I made 10 out of 18 or 19 shots, something like that. And I liked it because it had a voice that kind of guided you through the workout. So all you'd have to do is just put your camera iPad here. I'm using a tripod here. All you have to do is just set that up and then point it so it aligns with the cord, has a good view, and it's really good. The AI technology is pretty good at really showing the types of shots that you're doing, and it keeps track for you. And so every shot that you're going to be taking, it's going to keep track. Pretty good at keeping track. And then, so yeah, it's great. So down in the comments, let me know what you guys think about the app so far. Is it something that you would download? All right, guys, so I finished up ball handling and shooting. Now I want to show you guys the agility drill that's in the app. That's pretty cool. Oh, man, see how much suffering I go for you guys? That's why you gotta press the like button, please. But anyway, hey, that was an amazing drill, man. I mean, you don't need to buy cones. I mean, the cones are already on the screen for you. So all you gotta do is just do the drill. You don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to buy any equipment. It's fun. Anybody can do it at any age. So definitely kudos. Oh man, all right. So just finished those 3 things I told you guys about that I was gonna do. Did the ball handling, did the shooting drill, did the agility drill, and I feel like I just went to the gym for 2 hours. That was amazing. I haven't worked out a lot of those muscles in quite some time. And yeah, that was awesome, man. If I was a little kid growing up and, you know, summertime, I know a lot of the kids are already out of school or whatnot, but I'd be using this app every single day. Probably one day I'd be doing shooting. One day I would just focus on ball handling. One day I'd just do agility drills. And this app is great because it self-guides you. That's the one thing that I love about it, is that it self-guides you. Even before the drill starts, it shows you like a video of how to do the drill, so you know exactly what you're doing and the purpose. And yeah, I mean, I have no bad things about this app, man. When it comes to the 5-star scale, I definitely will give it 5 stars, baby. 5 stars, definitely deserves it. 5 out of 5, because not only does this fit the bill for any aspiring or current basketball player of all levels, but it also it gears to people who just want to move, who either want to learn the game or want to improve their quickness or agility, which is great for any type of sport. So this app is awesome. I'm very excited to see what new things they're going to add to it. I really think they should have every sport or every type of drill that's for a specific sport. Like, for example, golf. I think having building in drills for golf would be awesome for this app. I'm pretty sure they're probably working on that now, but that'd be something that I would love and definitely download and pay the money for. With that being said, you guys, that's the Home Court app. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and you can download it on any platform. It can be on iOS or the Android.
Michael Hudson reporting, Eagle News. We live in interesting times.
Well, after watching that display of skills, Mike, I am nearly tempted to challenge you to a little one-on-one. But of course, I wouldn't want to humiliate anybody. And when I say anybody, I mean me. When we come back, meet a University of Arizona graduate who will share with us how beyond ordinary this batch of graduates is. We'll return shortly. You want to stay with us? This is Eagle News.
Hello, my name is Robin, and I'm 5 years old. My mom and dad said many people are getting sick. That is why we have to stay at home. That is why I cannot go to school. I cannot play outside, and I cannot even visit my friends. We can only go outside if we visit the doctor, or if we need to buy some food. And when we get home, we have to wash our hands. While I'm at home, I do my homework, clean up my toys, help cooking our food, and help my parents with their work. Please stay home so we can all play together again. Bye!
Welcome back. You're watching Eagle News. I'm Alan Basolyahe in Los Angeles. Graduation marks a time of accomplishment in the lives of students and the start of a new chapter in their lives. Usually a big celebration ceremony with guest speakers, caps in the air, and photo opportunities with family and friends. With stay-at-home orders still in place, that will not be the case for the class of 2020. But some schools are trying to make graduation special just the same. Take a look.
The University of Arizona, please move your tassels from the right to the left side.
Graduation 2020 is sporting a different look this year as universities and schools, adjusting to shelter-in-place mandates, employ different solutions to an old-time tradition.
To me, a graduation ceremony is very important because it's an event where an individual can celebrate all their accomplishments that they've achieved during their college career. It's also a time for family and friends to pretty much celebrate such a huge milestone in one's life.
You go to college with this understanding that you're going to work 4 hard years to learn and gain an opportunity that not everybody has a chance to, which is a college degree. And once you finish college, this is an accomplishment. It's something that you look forward to in these 4 years of sleeping late and working, grinding, and everything like that, you know, making ends meet while trying to attain that degree. And you get to the end and there's nothing.
That's pretty much how many of the graduates of 2020 have been feeling since schools moved to distance learning earlier this year. These two graduates took different paths on their journey to the big day. Mark was born in Oakland, California, but moved to Tucson to major in business at the University of Arizona. Even though he had multiple scholarships that he would lose, Mark switched to chemical engineering after interning at a company in Los Angeles, California in 2015. The classes were more challenging and the costs were substantially higher, but Mark had found his true path. Having finished, Mark was looking forward to celebrating with friends and family to thank them for their support. Kenneth started out as a Marine, taking classes at night. He continued night school while working at a diesel repair company. He first chose to major in mechanical engineering, but after trying out a few classes, he decided to follow the advice of his counselor, who helped him realize he had a knack for speaking and working with people. Kenneth graduates with a degree in psychology with a minor in government and public policy. Just finishing school became a challenge for many students when forced to switch to distance learning.
It's very difficult, actually. You have to manage your time a lot better. You have to keep yourself accountable for finishing all your schoolwork and just meeting all the due dates. And I found that very difficult, especially without my classmates right by my side pushing. We were always pushing each other to do the very best. We wouldn't take any shortcuts, and we would pretty much put in our all just to, get an A on an assignment. And that was very hard to do on your own, especially when you're stuck indoors, surrounded by four walls at all times.
We're social beings, so we can require that human interaction. Psychologically speaking, it's not necessary. It's not good for you to be isolated. That's why it's kind of considered like a punishment to go to solitary confinement when you're in prison. It's just not good for the overall being. It affects you psychosomatically as well. So when you're by yourself and you end up overthinking, it affects your body negatively.
That's why it's so important for universities to make that special effort to start new traditions with the class of 2020. University of Arizona included virtual reenactments of certain graduation traditions. Noting that it wasn't just graduates affected by the pandemic, the university used the occasion to allow their international championship a cappella team the platform to perform the set they had hoped would win them another championship. Allison Levine delivered an exceptionally inspiring and comforting speech geared specifically towards the challenges the class of 2020 faced.
Now, you will encounter storms on your climb that will force you to change direction. That's okay. Progress is not necessarily linear. During an Everest climb, you may retreat back to base camp many times during the expedition in order to allow your body to adjust to the altitude. This is not losing ground, but rather gaining strength. Often you have to go backward in order to move forward, but backing up is not the same as backing down. Come on, that's a pretty good line, right?
It's a speech every graduate should hear, focused on the lessons she learned during her first attempt to climb Mount Everest. In lieu of walking the stage to receive diplomas, graduates were asked to submit slides with their photos or videos and quotes or greetings they wanted on screen. It was a good way to get to know each of their classmates, even if they'd never met. But was it enough?
They tried to make us feel special on our actual graduation day by showing us that they didn't forget about us. So I really applaud them for, doing that for us and trying to give us the graduation ceremony that was supposed to happen on that day.
They're not, required or obligated to do these things for you, but they put themselves out there. Even though it's a virtual graduation, they still have to go on campus out of the safety of their own homes to ensure that things happen for these graduates. So I feel very touched, I guess you could say, that they're doing these efforts to ensure that there is some form of virtual graduation or recognition for these students that are not receiving what they're due.
I'm pretty sure a whole bunch of graduates are feeling a little bit down that we didn't get to celebrate or have a traditional graduation ceremony, but I think we'll eventually we'll eventually get over it.
No matter the situation, that we just keep moving forward. We can't go back, we can't change things in our past, but we can make the best of what we have in our future. So rather than feeling down or whatever the case may be about the situation that we're in, we should just be positive and be productive with what we have and move forward with it.
Everything that we've learned in college, all the knowledge and skills that we have gained, we're going to use it to help better our society moving forward. And we're going to pretty much build a society that the future generation can enjoy.
Strong words of advice from two very promising members of the class of 2020. Congratulating the class of 2020 around the world, from Phoenix, Arizona, Lisa Docena, Eagle News, we live in interesting times.
Joining our program tonight is the graduate himself, Kenneth Vince Solano Garcia. Congratulations, Kenneth, and thank you so much for joining us on the broadcast.
Thank you, Alan. It's good to be here.
Now, before we get into some of the deeper questions of our interview with you, I want to ask, from the moment that students were moved to distance learning, did you still have any reason to go back on campus?
Well, not necessarily. Some students still had to go on campus for things that they needed. Like, for example, if they didn't have an accessible printer, they give free printing options at the university, as well. That if there are still students that are from out of state and they live there, they did like social distancing guidelines for them, for the students that still stayed there, and the canteens remained open, the stores remained open, so that they had some form of sustenance that they can get to. But just the general recreation stuff like the gym or the pools and everything like that, where mass gatherings were advised, they removed all that completely.
And did you have a chance to go back on campus during this time?
When the situation was still new, the school was completely closed down, aside from the students who were living there. But they didn't. But I think towards the end, when the quarantines were slowly, when the numbers slowly dwindling down, they started allowing us to go on campus to go and return books and pick up materials for graduation and everything like that.
Now, I'm imagining that a college campus, normally hustling and bustling with lots of people, can't find parking anywhere. But when you had to go, for example, return your books or something of that nature, was there a stark difference between before the move from online distance learning to when you were there? Was it sort of, I want to ask, sort of haunting to be there with much less people?
Oh, definitely, Alan. It was kind of like a ghost town. Usually on a regular day when I'd have to go to school, I'd leave probably 30 to 40 minutes early just so I can secure a parking spot. But once I returned some of my books, I just pulled straight up right in front of the circle that we have at the University of Arizona, walked straight into the bookstore, walked out. It took me like 10 minutes.
So no fighting for parking, but I'm sure you wish the circumstances were different.
Yes, it would have been nice to see some of my old friends and, say hi to some people there.
What we really loved about that report from one of our very own Eagle News correspondents was how you discussed not to let yourself get down. It's very easy to lose hope, but how can you still focus on the accomplishment that you've reached being a graduate?
Well, one of the things that I always look back to is my military experiences. When you're going through the military, they always push you and they'll tell you that it's going to be over. And over that bridge or that wall or that hill that you have to climb, there's going to be, greener grass there. So I think that's just the same way with everything else that we're going through right now. We're looking at, differences in the numbers. Is it going up? Is it going down? Whatever the case may be, we have to have some type of hope, just push forward, and hopefully we see, the light at the end of the tunnel eventually.
Right. It's so easy to just, throw up our hands in frustration. But should that feeling or attitude of thankfulness still be with everyone?
Of course, definitely. I mean, you spent 4 years or whatever program that you were in, if you were in a graduate program or if you were in a technical program, you spent all those hours working, trying to get to where you're at. That sense of accomplishment should always be in you, regardless of what the situation is, because my parents would always tell me, like, the best thing that you can get is education, because nobody else can take that from you. So you still have that regardless of the situation that you're in. This thing may pass, or it may continue longer, but at the end of the tunnel or whenever we finally get there, you're still going to be a graduate. You still have that degree. So that's definitely something to be proud of.
Absolutely. And we know that you were in the military. Of course, we're assuming that must have been pretty tough. You also mentioned, or we heard in the report, that you also worked while you were going to school. So talk about that. How difficult or what challenges did you face working towards your degree?
Well, when I was in the military, my primary job was in repair of logistical vehicles, tactical vehicles that we used out in deployments and everything like that. And so when I transitioned out into the civilian workforce, I decided to go somewhere that's closer to the field that I felt like I would get hired quickly. And I found a job at a diesel repair shop. And unfortunately, the hours were long, as any mechanic can attest to. But I still felt like, that's not something that I wanted to stay with for the rest of my life, especially, coming out of the military. So I decided to take classes afterwards. And it was difficult, definitely difficult. You'd get home from work from around 5 o'clock. You probably get like a snack or maybe something to drink, then get on campus. And, it's nighttime, same thing, regardless of the case. There's, parking is difficult, and, you'd have to try and stay awake for an hour, 2 hours, how many classes you have that night. Then once you get home, you have all these assignments you got to turn in. It's a grind. Anybody can attest to it, but, you got to do what you got to do to get that degree.
Right. So certainly the epitome of somebody who really experienced a lot as they work towards getting their degree. Now let's talk about the graduation. Of all the reasons that could have derailed an in-person graduation, a live graduation, to move it to a virtual graduation, did you ever once think that it would be a global, worldwide pandemic that would force your school to change from an in-person to an online graduation?
Well, it was definitely something that we all didn't expect. It's the measures that we take to ensure that we're all safe. Of all the things that are going on in the world right now, that's like the least thing that could happen that you think it could happen. But our leaders are doing the right things. Our frontline workers are, salute to them, trying to get us all safe and everything like that. So we gotta try and stay safe for, like what they said in the broadcast, for the greater good, the future, and everything like that. So.
Right. And of course, virtual graduation is certainly different than an in-person graduation. But was there any part that you liked? What was your favorite part of the virtual graduation?
I think my favorite part was the personalized slides. I myself, I watched it on the couch, just hanging out and, just like a regular person at home. But when I saw them play the slides over, showing that, individualizing the graduates, I guess you could say, showing them that they have like an opportunity to, because, you share a special moment with your family when you walk across the stage and you throw your cap in the air. But when you can't do that, the fact that the university allowed us to have slides so that we can present to the world to show them that, hey, regardless of the fact that we're not having an actual in-person ceremony, we're here, we're doing what we're doing, we're graduating. So I think that's my favorite part.
And you mentioned your family. Talk about their reaction to this virtual graduation.
My dad and my mom were very overjoyed. My little sister thought that, I could have chose a different picture, maybe something with like a graduation setup and everything like that. But with the school shut down, it was hard to get a gown and everything. So, but they were very happy.
Right, and we saw a lot of examples of graduates being very creative in the virtual graduation.
Yes, very, very creative.
Now, unfortunately, unemployment is the highest it's ever been. What's your outlook? How does it feel like being a graduate during this time?
Well, it's a little bit depressing, I guess you could say. You expect to come out of college with a job lined up. You're fresh. You got all this knowledge that they gave you, 4 years of, knowledge packed in your head. Then you get onto the workforce, and there's nothing out there for you, unless you were like a nursing major or a law enforcement officer or something like that. So right now, I have a couple applications out, just waiting on word from them. But depending on the economy and how our local leaders say will go, then that's probably when everybody's going to start ramping up hiring and everything.
Okay. Any advice to graduates who may be walking an interview and for the first time in their lives, what do you think they could say to help them land that job?
I think adversity is a very big thing that we're facing right now. We are all graduates that are in, they say it all the time. It's a specific it's a different situation that we're experiencing right now. So you walk into the interview and you should be confident. Let them know that, hey, you know, I'm one of those who, you know, had to go through however many months of school at home, or you know, you didn't have that same support that you have when you're regularly on campus. So I think confidence that you're able to overcome that adversity, that you're able to, you know, show them that you could show them that since I've been through this, what more can I offer you? You know, I have this mental fortitude that I wasn't able to do these special moments that, or just in general, that, you know, mental fortitude that you have that, you know, you can offer to the company, saying, hey, you know, if I can do this special moment in my life, what more can I offer you? You know.
Right, and so there is some distinction for this graduating class of 2020. You're like the COVID cohort of graduates. Now, Kenneth, when you look back years from now, what will you remember? What are some of the things you'll remember most about this time?
I think some of the most interesting things that one of my roommate, actually, he was on the feature, Mark Fabros, he mentioned to me, along with one of my friends, Anthony Ramos, mentioned to me, is that we don't have the regular hours and support that we have from, you know, going to school. So you'll find us sometimes awake at 4 in the morning trying to wrap up some assignments, then waking up in the afternoon and, you know, or playing video games or doing some type of like recreational activity. But I think the thing that I'll look back at most is that, you know, regardless of how depressing the situation is, when will you actually be able to have the amount of free time that we actually had? Like, you know, doing homework, trying to rush and doing something like 3 or 4 in the morning, and then immediately transition to a different activity. It was I guess you could say it's kind of a roller coaster of a time. So that's definitely something that I'm never going to forget. And when I look back 10 years, I'll be like, you know, I did that. So, and I still made it. So.
Well, that's excellent. Kenneth, we want to congratulate you once again and the entire class of 2020. Please don't be a stranger. We sure want to hear from you where your life's adventures will lead.
Thank you so much, Alan.
Thank you. A few reminders before we end today. Wash your hands often with soap and water. Cover your mouth and nose if sneezing or coughing. Avoid touching your eyes, nose, and mouth. Avoid contact with sick people. If you are sick, stay home and call your healthcare provider. Practice social distancing. Keep distance between yourself and others and avoid crowds. Wear a protective face covering when out in public. We want to continue to thank our frontline and essential workers with a round of applause. Let's hear it for them. We certainly appreciate each one of you. And how about another round of applause for our 2020 graduates like Kenneth. Kenneth, those applause were also for you. We're very proud of your accomplishments. That is today's EBC International coverage of the coronavirus COVID-19 pandemic. Thank you for joining us. I'm Alan Basoyahe. We live in interesting times.